Hey there, Grumpy Old Fart here. I'm doing an advanced Dungeons and Dragons magic item video on the Sphere of Annihilation. I honestly do not like these things. I really don't. Personal experience, I guess. I don't know. The Sphere of Annihilation is, in my opinion, one of the most dangerous phenomena in the game. It can be just as dangerous for the controlling magic user as it is for anyone or anything else. More so, even, during the initial attempts at control. The sphere isn't actually a sphere at all, but rather a hole in the fabric of reality itself. Anything coming into contact with this hole is immediately sucked into nothingness, gone forever. It doesn't count hit points, it doesn't count size. You touch it, you're done. That's that. Since it's not a physical thing, it cannot be pushed, pulled, or swatted away. The controlling magic user moves it by mentally manipulating reality around the edges of the hole. The Sphere of Annihilation can be found on page 154 of the Advanced Dungeons & Dragons Dungeon Master's Guide. Be sure to read up on it very, very carefully, before you put one in your game. These things can be, oh my god, ridiculously dangerous. Also read up on the Talisman of the Sphere on page 155 of the same book. The Talisman is meant to be used in conjunction, in concert with the Sphere. And, I'm not a big fan of the Sphere of Annihilation for the fact that it can be as dangerous to you as it is to the enemy. A lot of people like it because it's a status symbol. Not to sound bad, ladies, but I don't need status symbols. I'm quite happy with me as I am. if you get my drift. Excuse me. Yeah, I don't need anything to improve my status. I'm good. Also note how certain spells in the description of the item in the book. Note how certain spells and magic items interact with a Sphere of Annihilation. Also note that the absolute ridiculous chance any magic user under 12th level has to control a sphere, without a talisman. Also note how the psionic ability of probability travel affects a sphere. All in all, that's just... The whole, honestly, the idea of this thing is ludicrous, in my opinion. I have had the opportunity to get them, and I've turned them down. They are very powerful, yes, but they're, oh my god, the danger is much, in my opinion, much worse than is necessary. That's just my opinion. If you have other ideas, put them in the comments. Even if you disagree with me, that's fine. Years ago, a group of 4-player characters were exploring the ruins of an ancient pyramid. The group split up to search the abandoned rooms faster. And I know, cardinal mistake, right? So the fighter and the cleric entered a very dark room. The cleric had a torch which ruined the fighter's infravision. Because he was an elf. They saw the static sphere in the corner, and they walked over. The fighter touched it and immediately disappeared. The cleric assumed that he'd been teleported. And he didn't want the fighter to, wherever the fighter went, the fighter to be there alone, so he touched it as well. They both died. And I couldn't say anything. I was the dungeon master. I couldn't say anything. The fighter touched it, and I said, okay, well, he disappeared. And the fighter was like, what? And I said, dude, just you can't say anything. I'll be with you in a moment. And the cleric said, well, hell, wherever he went, he can't go alone. He reached out and he touched it. And I'm like, oh, crap. Okay, well, you're with him. Stay. You guys go over there and sit on the couch, and I'll work with these other guys. The thief and the magic user came in. The magic user immediately recognized it and tried to control it. He didn't say what it was, and he was able to get it under control, so all was well. Later, the thief, who thought it was a valuable item to sell, tried to steal it. So the magic user was the only survivor, And mainly the only reason the thief died was because the magic user didn't tell him what it was. Again, this was almost a total party kill. 3 out of 4 players, characters dead, simply because they didn't know what it was. I rarely use Spheres of Annihilation in my games. They can really cause more problems than they're worth. And the other part is, if a character is successful with it, they can use it to kill any of your bad guys, and that's that. The, magic items in and of themselves, and I've said this before and I'll say it again, magic items in and of themselves need to be rare. Spheres of Annihilation, I mean, oh my god, they need to be a lot more rare. That's all I'm gonna go. I'm gonna leave it there. You folks decide for yourselves. Hope this finds everybody well. You folks have a good one. God bless one and all. There is a house in New Orleans where the monsters all hang out. When the police detective, who happens to be a skinwalker squirrel, uncovers a plot by a paranormal perpetrator, he has to enlist the aid of his fellow housemates. If you enjoy a modern, quirky take on historical mythology, check out my new original novel, The House Off Farrago Road.